There is a rhythm to this universe that no clock can capture, no calendar can predict. It is the rhythm of the divine. It moves not according to your impatience, not by your logic, and not by your ego's demands, but by something infinitely wiser, infinitely vaster. Divine timing is not late, not early, and never wrong. It arrives like the tide, not to meet your schedule, but to meet your soul's evolution. When you begin to understand this, not as a concept, but as a living truth etched into the silence of your being, something inside you relaxes. You stop measuring your life by the ticking of time and start measuring it by the expansion of your awareness. You no longer say, why hasn't it happened yet? But rather, what am I being prepared for? There is no coincidence. There is no accident. Every delay, every detour, every door that would not open was not a rejection, it was a redirection. Life, in its infinite intelligence, has never denied you anything. It has only ever rerouted you to something more aligned with who you are becoming. But the ego does not see alignment. It only sees delay. It only sees absence. It only sees lack. That is because the ego lives in time. The soul lives in truth. And truth is never rushed. The acorn does not argue with the oak it's destined to become. It doesn't complain about how long it takes. It doesn't wish to be another tree. It simply surrenders to the season it is in. It trusts the dark soil and the silent work happening beneath the surface. So must you. You are not being delayed. You are being deepened. We suffer not because life withholds, but because we cling. We cling to timelines, to expectations, to ideas of how and when things must unfold. But divine timing does not ask for your timeline. It asks for your trust. And trust is not passive, it is the most powerful act of surrender. Trust is choosing to believe that even when nothing makes sense, everything is working. That even in silence, there is movement. That even in stillness, something sacred is being orchestrated beyond your view. What appears stagnant is often the space where transformation takes root. The butterfly is not born because the caterpillar pushes harder. It is born because the time is right. And the time is always right, but only to the one who has stopped resisting what is. You were not born to race the clock. You were born to awaken. And awakening does not happen according to schedule. It happens in divine time when the conditions are ready within you, when your spirit is ripe for remembering, when you're finally tired of forcing and start listening instead, listening not to the noise of the world, but to the whisper within you that says, be still, trust this. There is a part of you, ancient, infinite, eternal, that already knows this truth. It is the part of you that has never been in a hurry. It is the part of you that does not panic in the pause. It is the part of you that recognizes that nothing real can be lost and nothing meant for you will pass you by. Let that part of you speak louder now, because everything that you've been waiting for, everything your heart aches to see, is not outside of you. It's unfolding in the unseen. Life is not denying you, it is preparing you. Every unanswered prayer is not a punishment, it is a protection, a recalibration, a sacred pause to make space for something greater. Divine timing does not work to make you comfortable. It works to make you conscious. You see, when you are truly ready, not mentally, not emotionally, but spiritually, you will find that what you once chased begins to arrive without effort. The partner, the peace, the purpose, they do not show up because you demanded them. They show up because you became a vibrational match. Divine timing does not bring you what you want. It brings you what you are ready to hold. And to be ready is to be whole. To be whole is to no longer seek from lack, but to offer from fullness. You stop praying for something to complete you, and start radiating the energy that attracts all things naturally. You stop chasing what you think is missing, and you realize nothing is missing. You are already in sacred company, already on holy ground, already part of a divine unfolding that your mind may not understand, but your soul has always trusted. It takes courage to live this way, to let go of your plans, to surrender your agenda, to breathe through the discomfort of not knowing. But this courage is the doorway to miracles. Because miracles do not happen on your timeline, they happen on God's. And God's timing is never rushed by your worry. It is not disrupted by your fear. It is not swayed by your doubt. Divine timing flows from a place that is beyond manipulation, beyond control, beyond your will. It is born from alignment. And alignment comes not from pushing, but from allowing. So let yourself allow the unanswered to be sacred. Allow the delays to be divine. Allow the waiting to be holy. Do not despise the space between the seed and the bloom. Do not curse the rain, the dark, or the dormant. Every season has its place in your becoming. You are not being punished by time. You are being initiated by it. Initiated into patience, into presence, into peace, into the kind of inner freedom that does not depend on outer events, into the kind of knowing that no longer rushes toward the future because it has finally remembered the presence of now. Now is always sacred. Now is always enough. Now is always on time. Even your pain has its purpose. Even your confusion is a corridor. Even your heartbreak is a holy teacher. Not one tear is wasted. Not one setback is random. Every piece of your story is being woven into something radiant, something only divine timing could orchestrate. But here's what you must understand. The soul does not measure progress by speed. It measures it by surrender. It does not ask how far you've come. It asks how deeply you've trusted. And trust is the pathway to all things unseen. Divine timing is the language of the soul. And your soul is fluent in its silence. So slow down, breathe, let go of your deadlines. Release the white-knuckled grip you have around the future. You are not behind. You are not off track. You are not too late. You are exactly where you are meant to be, not by accident, but by grace. You are not waiting for life to begin. Life is waiting for you to open, to soften, to receive what has always been yours, but only at the appointed time. And that time will not be announced. It will arrive like a breeze, quiet, unexpected, transformational. And you will know, not because of a sign in the sky, but because your soul will sigh. Now is the moment. Now is the miracle. Now is always divine. You are not late for your life. That idea only exists in a world ruled by comparison. But your soul does not compare. It unfolds. Like the petals of a lotus, it opens in its own rhythm, untouched by the clock, unmoved by the pressure. The soul does not bloom because others have. It blooms because the moment is right, because the inner soil has been tilled by tears, softened by surrender, and nourished by grace. You are not behind, you are becoming. When you accept this, truly accept it, the anxiety begins to dissolve. You stop racing the phantom of someone else's path. You stop chasing a version of success that was never written for your spirit. And you start living from presence instead of pressure. You no longer look at someone else's breakthrough and feel small. You look and you remember their time is not your time. Their purpose is not your purpose. The divine does not duplicate destinies. It only fulfills them in unique and perfect ways. Let that truth free you. There is no peace in the timeline your ego demands. There is only tension. There is only striving. There is only a constant hunger. to arrive somewhere other than here. But you cannot arrive at peace by abandoning presence. You cannot reach joy by resenting the now. You cannot taste the fruit before the roots are formed. Divine timing is the great teacher of this truth. Every delay has been a blessing in disguise. You may not see it in the moment, but one day you will look back and say, thank God that didn't happen when I wanted it to. Because you weren't ready then, not because you were flawed, but because life was still preparing the soil, still shaping the circumstances, still healing the fractures you hadn't even seen, still aligning the pieces in a way that only Spirit could orchestrate. Readiness is not determined by desire. Readiness is a vibration. It is the energy of wholeness. When you vibrate in alignment with what you seek, you don't have to chase it, it meets you. That is the magic of divine timing. It doesn't answer your prayers in panic, it answers them in peace. And it waits until you're home within yourself before it delivers what you've asked for. You are not forgotten, you are not unseen. The delay is not a denial, it is a doorway. A doorway into deeper faith. A doorway into greater trust. A doorway into the kind of inner clarity that cannot be shaken by the winds of time. You are not being punished by waiting, you are being prepared by it. The wait is the work. The pause is the place where the sacred rearranges you so that when the right moment comes, you don't sabotage it with your fear. You were never meant to force anything. You were meant to flow with everything. Look at nature. The rivers do not rush to their destination. They meander, they carve, they flow. Not by urgency, but by surrender. And still, they arrive. The seasons do not compete. Winter does not rush to be spring. Each one honors its time, and so must you. There is beauty in honoring your season, even if it looks like stillness to the world. It may be the most active time for your soul. The greatest transformations happen in the dark. The seed does not sprout in the light. It breaks open beneath the surface, in silence, in obscurity. And you too may feel buried right now. But you are not buried, you are planted. You are in the sacred stage of becoming. And when the timing is right, nothing and no one will stop the bloom. So be gentle with yourself. Speak to yourself the way Spirit would speak. With love, with patience, with reassurance. Tell yourself, I may not see it yet, but I trust that everything is unfolding perfectly. Let this trust become your practice. Let it become your prayer. Let it become the lens through which you see every delay, every closed door, every unanswered question. Because sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is wait without worry. Breathe without rushing. Be without proving. Let life come to you in its own way, in its own time, with its own kind of perfection. There is nothing wrong with you because it hasn't happened yet. There is only ripening, there is only alignment, there is only divine orchestration happening in the unseen, shaping what your eyes cannot yet perceive. And it is not your job to control the how or the when. Your job is only to remain open, willing, and rooted in trust. The divine does not forget its appointments. It never misses its cue. It is not late, it is precise. And when your moment comes, when the door opens, when the alignment strikes like lightning across the sky of your being, you will know it was worth every unanswered question, every tear, every moment of doubt. Because the gift that arrives in divine timing is never just what you wanted, it's what your soul needed all along. That's the difference. What the ego wants often comes with a price, but what Spirit delivers comes with peace. You do not have to sacrifice your soul for what is meant for you. You only have to align with the truth of who you are and allow life to meet you there. Do not confuse stillness with stagnation. The universe is never still. Even when the surface seems quiet, the depths are in motion. So too are you. Even now, something within you is shifting. Even now, you are becoming a more fertile ground for the miracles you once begged for. You are the prayer, You are the timing. You are the place where God shows up, not in fireworks, but in presence. Not in drama, but in alignment. Trust this. Trust the closed doors, for they are divine detours. Trust the quiet, for it is the soil of revelation. Trust the unanswered prayers, for they are the guardians of greater blessings. Trust the seasons of isolation, for they are the spaces where spirit reshapes you without distraction. Most of all, trust that you are not waiting for life. Life is waiting for you to stop running, to stop grasping, to stop forcing, and simply become still enough to be found by the grace that is already on its way. Let yourself be found. Let yourself be held. Let yourself believe that divine timing is not a punishment, but a promise. A promise that what is truly for you cannot be lost, missed, or delayed. It can only arrive exactly when you are ready to receive it fully. And when it does, it will feel like coming home. Not to a place, but to yourself. The greatest illusion the ego maintains is the belief that we are in charge of time, that we are the masters of beginnings and endings, that we can orchestrate the symphony of life according to our own design. But the soul knows better. The soul knows it is not the conductor, it is the instrument. And when we surrender to divine timing, we allow ourselves to be played by the hands of the infinite. What emerges from that surrender is not weakness, it is music. A harmony that could never have been composed by the mind. A melody that rises only when the heart is still and open. You begin to notice that what you thought was a setback was a setup. That what you perceived as loss was actually rearrangement. That what you judged as stagnation was spiritual gestation. You were not forgotten in the silence, you were being softened. Softened so that you could receive, not just externally, but internally. Because nothing that arrives externally will fulfill you until you are inwardly prepared to hold it with reverence. Divine timing ensures that what is meant for you will not only enter your life, it will remain in your life, because you will have become someone who can sustain it. That is why you must trust the wait. There is a divine architecture to your life that cannot be mapped by intellect. It can only be revealed through surrender. You do not see the blueprint, but the builder does. And the builder is never careless. Every beam of timing, every brick of delay, every window of uncertainty is placed with sacred precision. When you stand in the house of your destiny, you will see that even the crooked walls were necessary to bring you home to yourself. But you must be willing to release the illusion of control. Control is the armor of the fearful. It says, if I just try harder, push faster, manipulate better, I can make life bend to my will. But life does not bend to will. It flows through trust. Control may give the illusion of progress, but trust brings the reality of peace. And peace is the foundation upon which all divine things are built. You were never meant to strive your way into blessings. You were meant to align your way into them. Alignment is the holy yes to life as it is. It does not mean you give up desire. It means your desire no longer comes from lack. It comes from love. It means you no longer say, I must have this to be whole, but instead, I welcome this from my wholeness. And when you live from wholeness, timing becomes your ally, not your enemy. The ego says, you should be there by now. The soul says, you are right on time. Every soul blooms in divine sequence. The oak tree does not bloom in spring like the cherry blossom. And the cherry blossom does not judge the cactus for blooming under the desert sun. Every soul has its season. Every path has its pace. And when you honor your own, you free yourself from the suffering of comparison. Comparison is the thief of peace. It convinces you that your worth is measured by how fast you manifest. But true manifestation is not about speed. It's about alignment, resonance, readiness. It's about becoming a vessel that can carry the magnitude of what you've asked for. The universe is not withholding from you. It is waiting for your energy to rise to the level of your request. This is the great invitation of divine timing: to rise, not to race. To rise into patience, into purpose, into presence. To let your growth be the magnet that draws what is meant for you. You do not find your blessings by chasing them. You attract them by becoming who you were born to be. And who you were born to be does not panic in the waiting. Who you were born to be remembers that delays are sacred, that detours are instructional, that even endings are beginnings wearing a different costume. You stop resisting what is and begin listening to what is rising. Because when divine timing moves, it doesn't announce itself. It arrives like dawn, quiet, golden, unmistakable. And those who have learned to trust the dark can receive the light without fear. They no longer cling to the old. They no longer force the new. They allow, they accept, they flow. They trust that every season of their life is a classroom for the soul. You are not late, you are learning. You are not forgotten, you are forming. You are not abandoned, you are being aligned. And when you are aligned, nothing is lost. Everything that is meant for you will find you, not in the chaos of effort, but in the stillness of faith. Faith is not blind belief. Faith is deep remembrance, a return to the knowing that you are already held by something infinitely wise, something that sees 10,000 steps ahead, something that knows exactly when to close a door and exactly when to swing it wide open. Let that knowing soothe you. Let it quiet the voice that says, it should have happened by now. Let it dissolve the anxiety that clings to clocks and deadlines. Let it remind you that you are not on the world's time, you are on soul time. And soul time does not run on urgency, it runs on expansion. The more you expand, the less you force. The more you trust, the more you receive. The more you surrender, the more life reveals its mysterious grace. You begin to walk not ahead of yourself, not behind yourself, but with yourself. And in that sacred companionship with your own soul, you arrive at the only place you were ever meant to be, here. Now, this moment, this breath, this is where divine timing begins, not in some future manifestation, but in your willingness to be fully present with what is. This moment is not in the way, it is the way. It is the seedbed of everything that is coming. It is the holy ground on which your future takes root. Honor it, bless it, trust it. So here you are, not waiting anymore, but awakening, not chasing anymore, but becoming, not counting the hours, but consecrating the moment. And in this holy surrender, something shifts, something softens, something returns. You remember what the ego worked so hard to forget, that you were never separate from the timing of the divine. You were never off course. You were never out of sync. You were always being guided, always being led, always being shaped, not by delay, but by design. Every ache in your chest was a crack through which the light entered. Every prayer that seemed unanswered was an echo, reverberating through a larger orchestration. You could not see it, but the hands of grace were always moving, always aligning, always waiting for you to let go, not because you were being punished, but because your fists were clenched too tightly to receive the miracle. And now you know, the waiting was never empty. It was sacred. It was the chrysalis that transformed you slowly and invisibly into someone who could carry more light. Someone who could love without condition. Someone who no longer begged the universe for answers, but bowed to its wisdom. You are not who you were. The self who demanded the world move faster has dissolved. The self who needed everything to make sense has softened. What remains is truer, quieter, more spacious. You are now a vessel that can receive without needing to control, that can trust without needing to understand. And this trust is the gateway to freedom. Because freedom is not found in having everything you want exactly when you want it. It is found in realizing you are whole, even when nothing has arrived yet. It is found in breathing peacefully through the unknown. It is found in the sacred recognition that everything unfolds not by your command, but by divine alignment. And divine alignment has never failed you. It has placed you in the presence of teachers cloaked as hardship. It has rearranged your plans when they no longer matched your evolution. It has cracked open your heart so that it could stretch wide enough to hold the immensity of love you once feared. And it has brought you here not by mistake, but by miracle. So let the old story fall away now, the one that said you were too late, too behind, too broken, too lost. Let that voice go. It was never your soul speaking. It was your conditioning, echoing in the hallways of your past. But you are not your past. You are not the missed opportunities, the abandoned dreams, the closed doors, the should-haves, or the timelines that unraveled. You are this moment. You are the breath that expands without effort. You are the awareness that watches without judgment. You are the presence that listens without trying to fix. You are the light that remained, even in the longest night. You are the calm after the storm, the clarity after the chaos, the stillness after the striving. You are what was always meant to be. And what is meant for you, truly meant for you, cannot be rushed. It cannot be missed. It cannot be destroyed. It can only arrive when you are fully ready to receive it. Not with trembling hands, but with an open heart. Not with desperation, but with devotion. So take this breath, take this moment, and know, nothing is wasted. No part of your journey has been a detour. Every step has led you here. Every loss carved space for grace. Every silence deepened your listening. Every delay was a message from the divine saying, not yet, because something greater is forming. And now, you're no longer fighting that truth. You're welcoming it. You're no longer demanding your life bend to your timing. You're flowing with the mystery of it all. You're no longer trying to outrun the pain. You're walking through it with open eyes and a steady heart, knowing that even this is part of the rhythm. You're not who you were. You're not who you thought you had to be. You are who you always were, beneath the fear. A soul in perfect harmony with a universe that never makes a mistake. And now you walk differently. Not faster, not more forcefully, but with reverence, with grace, with a quiet knowing that whatever is coming is already yours, that you don't have to run toward it, you just have to rise into it. You just have to meet it by being the truest expression of yourself. And that is freedom. Freedom from urgency, freedom from self-judgment, freedom from timelines built on fear. This is the liberation of the soul that knows, I don't have to rush, I don't have to beg, I don't have to grasp, I just have to trust, open, allow, and life will meet me there. And when it does, it will not be because you forced it, it will be because you became it. The miracle will not come to rescue you, it will come to reflect you. It will not arrive to prove your worth. It will arrive because you finally remembered you were worthy all along. This is the divine unfolding. This is the sacred rhythm. This is your soul, awake and alive, moving with the timing of eternity. So now, breathe. Not because you're waiting for something, but because you are something. You are not waiting for the right time. You are the right time. You are the light that dawns in perfect silence. And divine timing is always right. There is a great illusion that quietly governs so many lives. A silent myth we inherit, not through conscious choice, but through the habitual repetition of thought. And that myth is this, that the past, the wake behind us, somehow determines where we are headed. That the trail we leave, the mistakes we've made, the wounds we carry, the identities we've assumed, these are the engines of our future. But let us begin this moment, this breath, with a radical truth. The wake does not drive the boat. Close your eyes if you can. Feel the energy of that statement, not just with your ears, but with your being. The wake is nothing more than a trail of disturbed water. It is the evidence of where you've been, not the force that carries you forward. The engine is now, the rudder is choice, and the sea ahead is untouched, limitless, unconcerned with what lies behind. The ego, however, lives in reverse. It worships history. It tells you that who you were is who you must be. It reminds you again and again of what hurt, what failed, what was said, what was done, and it sells you the lie that these echoes determine your destiny. But the soul, the soul is not interested in echoes. The soul speaks in whispers of potential, not the noise of regret. It nudges you forward, always forward, never backward. You are not your story. You are not your name. You are not your wounds. You are not the patterns of your parents, nor the failures of your youth. You are not your mistakes, nor are you your achievements. You are not even your thoughts. You are the awareness behind it, all the vast, infinite presence that watches the play of memory without becoming it. We must awaken to this. No amount of looking behind you will ever steer you forward. No amount of regret will ever open the gates of freedom. You are here, now. And this moment, this sacred, unrepeatable now, is your access point to power. The divine does not live in your memories. The divine lives in the aliveness of presence. Let go of the identity that was constructed from the past. It is not your truth. It is merely a shell, a costume, a temporary role played in the theater of time. You are not here to repeat scenes. You are here to awaken, to remember the eternal, changeless spirit that you are, to return to the knowing that you are more than the circumstances you've survived. Imagine a boat gliding across the water, behind it, a churning white trail. That is the wake, chaotic, visible, but utterly powerless to move the vessel forward. If you were to ask, what makes the boat move? Would you point to the wake? No. You would point to the engine, and the engine is within you. It is your thoughts, your focus, your choice to return to the present. It is your decision to drop the heavy bags of resentment, blame, and shame, and instead lift your hands to the sky of possibility. And yet, how many of us live as if the wake has control? We say, I can't love fully because I was abandoned. I can't succeed because I failed before. I can't forgive because I was hurt. But hear this, these are not facts. These are decisions dressed as conclusions. And any decision made in fear can be unmade in love. Forgiveness is not for the past. Forgiveness is freedom from it. And when you truly understand that the wake does not drive the boat, you will no longer be chained to what was. You will begin, finally, to live what is. The mind, when left untrained, is like a boat without a captain drifting wherever the winds of memory take it. But your soul, your higher self, is the captain. It is the still point of clarity. And when you surrender the illusion of control, the illusion of certainty, the illusion of being right, something miraculous happens. You begin to glide through life with grace. This is not passivity. This is power. It is the sacred power of surrender, not surrendering to defeat, but surrendering to truth. And the truth is, the past cannot be changed, but your relationship to it can. The past is not your prison. It is your teacher. But you must stop worshiping it as if it is your identity. Release the need to retell the story of your pain. Drop the need to explain your limitations. Let go of being the victim, the struggler, the one who almost made it. These identities are just anchors in the water. The moment you untie from them, you sail. You were never meant to drag your history into every present moment. Life is not asking you to carry your old self. It is asking you to rise, to evolve, to awaken to the beauty that is here, now, always. What if today you stopped rehearsing your regrets? What if today you refuse to be defined by your suffering? What if today you looked at your wake, the broken pieces, the sorrow, the lost time, and you whispered, "Thank you for the lessons. Now I choose to move on." This is not spiritual bypassing. This is spiritual responsibility. It takes courage to move forward without dragging the past behind you like a worn-out coat. But I promise you, freedom lives on the other side of that release. You cannot sail to a new shore if you are anchored in a harbor of pain. You cannot hear the voice of your soul if you are always listening to the echoes of yesterday. And you cannot create a life of joy if you are addicted to the narrative of suffering. You are not here to be a historian of your wounds. You are here to be a creator of healing, a builder of beauty, a vessel for peace. You are not the storm. You are the ocean, vast, deep, unshaken. Let go of the fear that if you release the past, you'll lose who you are. That fear is a lie. You will not lose yourself. You will meet yourself maybe for the first time. You will meet the self that was never broken, never small, never lacking. The self that existed before the story, before the wound, before the name. That self is not moved by opinion, not confined by time, not disturbed by change. It is divine. It is eternal. And it is you. You've been taught to identify with the marks left by life, the scars, the memories, the bruises of time. But I invite you now to shift your gaze. Look not at what happened, but at what is emerging. The wake is gone, the present is alive, and your soul is ready. You can choose to live with the engine of your awareness fully ignited, charting a course that is not dictated by fear but inspired by love. Or you can keep looking behind you, hoping that certainty lies in the familiar. But hear me now. What is familiar is not always what is true. And what is true is that you are free. You are free to release the guilt, free to forgive yourself, free to step out of the costume you've worn for so long and say, I am ready to return to the truth of who I am. And who you are is not the wake, it is the wave, it is the wind, it is the witness to it all. Do you know what the wake truly represents? It is not only your past actions, it is also your past reactions, your interpretations, your judgments, your internal dialogues about what occurred. The past is not just what happened, it's what you told yourself about what happened. And that narrative is what keeps so many souls bound to sorrow. But here's a powerful truth. Interpretations can be changed, and when they are, the emotional chain to the past dissolves. You can look back and see betrayal, or you can look back and see the unraveling of illusions. You can see rejection, or you can see redirection. You can see failure, or you can see refinement. This is not delusion, it is perception infused with wisdom. It is choosing to see with the eyes of the soul rather than the lens of the ego. The ego clings to wounds as proof of identity, but the soul sees every event as a stepping stone, not a gravestone. We are not here to preserve the past. We are here to be transformed by the now. There's a moment, subtle but holy, when you realize you can drop the rope that's tied to that thing someone said, that event that didn't go as planned, that year you lost yourself, that version of you who didn't know better. You can drop the rope, and you will not fall. You will float, you will rise. It is your clinging that weighs you down, not the past itself. The past is done, the moment has passed. But the clinging, the retelling, the recycling, that is what creates the heaviness. So the question becomes, are you willing to travel light? Are you willing to walk into this new moment without dragging every yesterday behind you like a sack of broken mirrors? Are you willing to speak to your own heart and say, I forgive you, not because you did everything right, but because I no longer want to live in punishment? Forgiveness is not weak. Forgiveness is the highest expression of spiritual strength. It is the power to say, I remember, but I no longer suffer. It is the ability to step into your life without the story dragging at your heels. It is looking into the eyes of your reflection and seeing someone who has grown, not someone who has failed. If the wake does not drive the boat, then let us stop looking behind us when we steer. Let us stop consulting old pain for new direction. Let us stop returning to the scene of the wound and calling it home. The soul lives in forward motion. The soul does not repeat. It evolves. It flows like a river that does not apologize for its path. It does not ask permission to continue. It simply follows the pull of gravity, the gravity of truth, and that gravity is pulling you now, away from fear, away from shame, away from blame, and toward the infinite sea of who you truly are. Can you feel that pull? It's quiet. It's not the loud voice that says you should have known better or you'll never be enough. That's the voice of the conditioned mind. The voice of old programming, the voice that got its instructions from a society more invested in conformity than consciousness. The real voice, the voice of the self, does not shout. It whispers. It says, you are already free. You just have to stop telling the story of why you're not. There is no salvation in the story. There is only freedom in the surrender. Let go. Not in theory, not as an idea, but in this moment, right now, breathe in, let go of who you were. Breathe out, let go of who they were. Let it all dissolve like mist in morning light. The moment you let go, you are reborn. The moment you choose to bless the wake instead of curse it, you begin to rise. Because the wake has no more power over you than you give it. You are not a victim of your history. You are the creator of your destiny. But destiny is not written in memory, it is written in movement. And movement requires release. Release the need to understand everything that happened. The ego is obsessed with explanation. It wants to know why they left, why you failed, why it broke, why it didn't go as planned. But the soul knows that healing is not an equation. It's a letting go. It's a softening. It's a return to the now. Do you want to heal? Then stop rehearsing. Stop reliving. Stop waiting for closure from people who were never meant to complete you. Stop needing to know all the reasons. Life is not a courtroom. You are not on trial. You are free to walk out of the prison even if no one explains why you were locked up. Let go. Let go not because it erases what happened, but because it restores who you are. And who are you? You are awareness. You are peace. You are the witness of this moment. You are the presence that sees without judging, that loves without clinging, that breathes without resisting. You are not the character in the storm. You are the sky in which the storm happens. All pain is a resistance to the now. All suffering is a belief that this moment should be different. But when you stop resisting, the suffering ends. When you stop telling life it should have been another way, peace begins. This is the paradox. You gain control by letting go. You move forward by releasing. You arrive by no longer needing to arrive. You become whole by no longer seeking completion. There is nothing to fix. There is only something to remember. And what you must remember is that the wake is just water. It is not your identity. It is not your future. It is not your truth. You are the boat. You are the wind. You are the wave. And you are the captain. The choice is yours now, to continue pointing backward or to face the open sea with courage, to replay or to rebirth, to suffer or to soar. There is no right time, there is only right now. And now is always enough. There is a quiet revolution happening in your soul, a gentle rebellion against the tyranny of yesterday. It doesn't need permission. It doesn't wait for applause. It rises like the tide, invisible but unstoppable. It rises not to destroy the past, but to transcend it, to outgrow it, to say, thank you for the experience, but I am not staying there. You were never meant to live in reverse. The mind, conditioned by the ego, obsesses over past errors and future fears. But your soul, it lives in the sacred now. It whispers truth into the space between thoughts. And its message is always the same. Return to presence. Let go. Be still. You are already home. Why do we believe the past holds more truth than the present? Because we've been trained to measure life by memory, to believe that what happened is more real than what is happening. But reality is not in the mind's museum of yesterday. Reality is right here in the breath, in the beat of your heart, in the awareness reading these words. You do not have to carry the weight of old identities any longer. They are not who you are. They are who you thought you had to be to survive, to belong, to be accepted in a world that forgot how to see the soul. But you have remembered. You wouldn't be here listening if you hadn't. Something within you is stirring, cracking open. The truth of your being is emerging through the shell of your story. There are no justified resentments, not because the pain wasn't real, but because your healing matters more than your history. You cannot drink poison and expect someone else to suffer. You cannot cling to bitterness and hope for joy to grow. You must become ruthless in your forgiveness, not for them, for you, so that you can be light again. Let go of the idea that people owe you closure. That is the language of ego. The soul knows that closure is not given, it is chosen. It is an inner declaration. I will no longer wait for the past to fix itself before I allow myself to be free. The wake does not drive the boat. It may ripple, it may roar, it may foam with the memories of 1,000 storms. But it cannot dictate your direction unless you turn to follow it. And why would you? When everything you've ever sought is in front of you, not behind you. Peace is here. Love is here. God is here. Not in the past, not in the future. Here. You've been taught that to change your life, you must work harder, try more, do better. But the truth is far more elegant. To change your life, you must change your relationship with thought. You must stop letting your mind bully your soul. You must return to the seat of your power, the stillness beneath it all. What if you simply stopped arguing with the past? What if you chose right now to bless it instead? What if you thanked every painful chapter for teaching you what love is not, so you could finally discover what love truly is? The wake cannot hurt you. It has no substance. It's made of movement, not matter. But when you replay it in your mind, when you rehearse the anger, the disappointment, the shame you give it form again, you breathe life into a ghost. And that ghost sits in the captain's chair and steers you toward more of the same. You are the captain. Reclaim the wheel. The mind may resist. It may say, but they were wrong, but I was hurt, but it's not fair. And that's okay. Let the mind protest, but do not let it lead. Let the thoughts come like birds, but do not build nests for them. Watch them fly and return to presence. Every day you carry your story is a day you delay your freedom. You are not bound by the events of your life. You are bound only by the meanings you've assigned to them. So revise the meaning. See your scars not as proof of suffering, but as evidence of survival. See your failures not as losses, but as sacred redirections. See your losses not as punishments, but as invitations to remember the impermanence of form. Everything that was taken from you has made space for what cannot be taken your soul. There is a deeper you that has never been touched by trauma, never bruised by betrayal, never lessened by lack. That self cannot be harmed. It is eternal, invisible, unshakable. And it is the you that drives the boat, if you let it. The wake may tell a story of brokenness, but the current of now, it flows with wholeness. It knows where to take you. It knows what you need. It knows how to heal you without your effort, without your analysis. It simply asks you to let go of control and trust the unfolding. This is the holy paradox. The moment you stop chasing healing, you begin to be healed. The moment you stop fixing yourself, you realize you were never broken. The moment you stop managing your life like a machine and start living it like a miracle, everything changes. Let it go. Let it all go. Not to forget, but to forgive. Not to ignore, but to transcend. Not to abandon, but to bless. And in that letting go, you will finally be carried Not by effort, not by willpower, but by grace. Grace is the silent power that moves through your life when you stop trying to control the river. It is the divine GPS recalculating, rerouting, redeeming every moment you thought was wasted. Grace doesn't need a plan. It needs your permission. And when you say yes to now, grace floods in. It heals you in ways you never could have planned. It restores what you thought was lost. It rewrites the script in a language of peace. And all it asks is that you stop pretending the wake can lead you. So here you are, at the edge of yourself, not the self you've tried to protect or prove or polish, not the image you've curated to please the world or the narrative you've whispered to avoid discomfort, but the real you, the eternal, infinite, unburdened being you were before the story began. You've arrived not because you pushed harder, not because you fought your way here, but because something inside you stopped clinging. Something inside you chose the radical act of surrender. And in that surrender, you remembered the wake does not drive the boat. All along, the river was flowing. All along, grace was moving. All along, life was not punishing you, it was preparing you. And all along, you were already enough. You never had to drag your wounds like trophies. You never had to use your past as a passport. You never had to convince the world you deserved to move forward. You only had to remember you are the boat, not the wake. Let the tears come, if they come. Not as sorrow, but as cleansing. Not as grief, but as recognition. This is not the end. This is the return. This is the moment when the past unhooks from your spine and you stand finally without the weight of who you were. Feel it. The lightness, the spaciousness of this breath, the sacred silence between your thoughts. This is home, not the memories, not the names, not the explanations. This presence, this is who you are. You are not what happened. You are what remains. You are not the echo. You are the voice. You are not the history. You are the awareness watching it pass. You are not broken. You are the light that shines through the cracks. You are not the wake. You are the wind in the sails of now. And so I leave you with this. No matter what the world told you, you are free. No matter what your mind repeats, you are enough. No matter what happened before, the sacred now is untouched and it is yours. Go forward, not as someone trying to escape the past, but as someone who no longer needs it to feel real. Go forward, not as a survivor, but as a creator. Go forward, not because the wake is gone, but because you've stopped letting it lead. Sail now, not because you must, but because you can. Sail with trust, with openness, with grace. And when the past calls out to you, when it rises in the rear view like a familiar ghost, smile gently. Place your hand on your heart and say, I bless you, but I no longer follow you. Then turn your face toward the horizon, wide, wild, limitless, and step fully into the radiant now, because this is your time, and this is your truth, and this is your life. And finally, you remember the wake does not drive the boat.